Well, hello there. It is Dr. Siobhan here, founder of Relatable. Happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July for those of you who are watching and are right here in the good old USA. So today I know is a day filled with barbecues, gatherings, overindulging, right? It feels like the 4th of July in many ways is like the official start of summer, even though summer started last month. So I just wanted to come on and do a live stream on a topic that I think is really important, but also to first just acknowledge that it is the 4th of July here and to wish you a happy 4th of July. I am going to share this post inside of my group. If you guys are not a member of my private Facebook group, Happily Married Woman, I strongly encourage you to join. And it's an awesome group where I'm there so many days sharing additional content and information and all of that good stuff. So I'm sharing this post there because it's something that if you can catch it live, I think will really be helpful. If you're catching the replay, that's good too. So it's ironic, right, that today is Independence Day, which is all about sort of standing up for what you believe in, making things happen, exerting your power, feeling empowered, right? That's what Independence Day is all about. And I've decided to come on to talk with you about surrendering, right? It's like, wait, why today? And it's not by chance, I don't think. I think this is an area that I have been focusing on personally, how to surrender, right? You want something so badly in your life and you feel like you need to make a plan, you feel like you need to, create all these steps, you need to make it happen, right? That's what we've been trained and socialized to do so much. I'm a type A, like super ambitious type of person. So for me, when I set out on a goal, it's like, okay, well, how am I going to make it happen? Like, what's the plan? I love planning. This is what I'm going to do this day. This is what I'm going to do that day. And so, that is our drive. That is our nature, is to try to make things happen in our own strength and in our own will. And I wanted to come on and talk about surrender because I think it's something that many of us aspire to. It's something that many of us know that there are things beyond our control that no matter how much we try to make things happen, sometimes they just don't happen. And that leads to a lot of frustration. It leads to us feeling defeated. It leads to us feeling like a failure in so many areas of our lives. And, when you think about surrender, it is an incredibly hard thing to do because as human beings, we are driven by like what we see in front of us, right? So if we don't see a particular situation changing or if we're not achieving our goals, then we sort of try to like rationalize it and try to get resources and skills and things to like make that thing happen. And I believe that sometimes God wants to remind us that we just have to surrender, that he wants us to know that he is in control of it all and that whatever desire, whatever dream, whatever goal he's placed in your heart, he's already created the pathway for you to get there. But so often we shut off our connection to him. We shut off our connection to his guidance because we feel like we have to figure it out. We feel like we have the answer. We feel like this is the way to go about doing it and that it needs to look like this and that it's gotta unfold on this timeline. And that's not the case at all. And so when I think about this concept of surrendering, it is something that many of us have probably had the opportunity to do. It's been an assignment in front of us at many junctures in our life. And we choose not to, right? I think for myself, I can think back to my husband and I, our very first wedding anniversary. We were gone on a trip to Aruba. We were sitting having this amazing lunch and we were mapping out our life together. We were mapping out how we wanted the next few years to unfold. We made a decision that we were going to purchase a house. And then after that, we were going to try to start our family. And that's what we set out to do. That was our plan. And so we got the house, right? We saved the exact amount of money that we wanted to save. We had a very smooth process of getting our home. Thank God for that. And, as we're packing and as we're setting things up, I'm like, this is the baby's room. Like, this is all the stuff that's going to go in the baby's room. And we had this room that I had set aside for our child. And then we began the process of trying to conceive. And, me, again, being this type A person, I was like, okay, in 9 months, like, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have this baby. And it didn't happen. And so it's like, okay, well, we keep trying, right? And I'd gone to my doctor before, and, I was 35 at the time that we started trying to conceive. And she was like, keep trying. And if in 6 months' time things don't happen, then definitely come back because we want to evaluate, we want to assess you. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm like, okay, we got 6 months. So I got the ovulation kits. I was like, we were a well-oiled machine, right? Talk about, fun, right? Trying to conceive a baby on this timeline in this like scientific way. Like, this is the time, things have to happen because I'm ovulating now. All of that happened in our household. I was very much like, I'm going to control this. This is how it's going to happen. We will not be at this 6-month mark where I have to go back to my doctor. That was just like made up in my mind that I was going to take every matter into my own hands and ensure that we conceived by these 6 months. And so, lo and behold, right, as we think about surrender, and I wasn't surrendering at the time, 6 months later, I find myself having this conversation with my doctor, and then we proceed through appointments with fertility specialists to try to figure out what was going on in my body. And that was a really, really rough time. For any of you who have maybe struggled with infertility or struggled to conceive, or maybe you've had a miscarriage or a loss, it is a devastating experience to want to bring life into this world and to not be able to do so. And I knew within my soul that God was using that experience to grow me, to stretch me, to create in me the person that I need to be to eventually mother the child that he would give to us. Yet, again, I felt myself like, I'm like, well, this is how it happens. Like, how do all these other people get pregnant without being so intentional about it? For sure, we can make this happen. And I spent a lot of time trying to control the situation. And he was telling me in so many ways, you have to surrender this to me. Like, I am the ultimate giver of life. And I did that. And it wasn't without heartache, and it wasn't without a lot of pain and a lot of tears. And the way that I was able to do that, which is the main point of what I wanted to share in this particular live stream, was that I truly believed that God's plan was greater than my plan. That the timeline of what I had in terms of how my family would unfold was my timeline. But that wasn't what was best for me. That wasn't what was best for our family. And I had to totally surrender control and to trust and believe without a shadow of a doubt that God's plan was better than my plan. And that me trying to control the situation, by me trying to orchestrate things, I was getting in the way of what he was trying to do, not only in my life, but in my family's life, in our child's life, right? Like, bringing a life into a world at a particular point in time is much more than just having a baby. It's about, that child's life unfolding within a particular time in the world, right? And time in your own life. And so I really had to trust and believe that God's plan was better. That no matter what I thought, my limited sight was just that, limited, right? I can only see so far in advance, but that he could see to the end of time and know that the child that he had placed in my heart as a desire needed to come into this world on an exact date, because it was part of his grand plan, which is so much better than ours. And so for you that are watching right now, whatever it is that you are trying to make happen, whatever goal it is you are trying to achieve in your life, whatever desire that's been placed in your heart that you've been working towards and striving towards and putting all of your time, your energy, your effort into thinking this way, thinking that way, trying to come up with this solution, trying to come up with that solution, my suggestion to you is to surrender. And the way you do that, number one, is you have to believe that there is a power greater than you operating in your life. That what you see is only a snapshot of some grander, bigger, better plan for you. And that you have to release that and give it over to your creator, right? You have to take your hands off the wheel and let God drive you. Like, put it on cruise control and put him in the pilot seat of your life. And that is a place of peace. That is a place where you can rest in his arms, knowing that he's got you, right? He's got you, and he's got this situation, whatever this situation is. And he wants you to just rest in his arms, right? You've heard the scripture. All things work for the good of those that love the Lord and that are called according to his purpose. And so if you are a believer in that, you have got to reconnect to the belief at your core that God's plan is better than your plan. And so that's what I want you to focus on today. Whatever it is you are striving for, whatever it is you are trying to make happen, whatever it is that you feel like you are pushing up a brick wall, that the door is just not opening for you, trust that God's plan is better than your plan. And in his perfect timing, everything is going to work out for you, right? Your victory is already guaranteed. And when you have that assurance, you just operate with a confidence and a peace that he is taking care of it all for you. And so that's what I wanted to share in this part one. There are so many steps to being able to truly surrender, but it starts with the belief that God's plan is better than your plan, and that what you think is the right thing for you right now maybe isn't. Maybe something better, right? What if you knew that there was something even better than what you're imagining, right? One of my favorite scriptures is that, God can do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we could ever ask, think, or imagine. So if it's not happening for you right now, that does not mean that it's not going to happen. And if it's not happening for you right now, that does not mean that you are being denied. It could just mean that you're trying to open this small door and God wants to take you through a massive, enormous door. But you've got to leave it in his hands. You've got to take your hands off the wheel, and you've got to trust that his plan is better than your plan. You've got to step aside, right? It's sort of like, lead the way, God. And the way that you enable him to lead the way is you tune into him. You wait for his direction. You listen for his voice. I have begun the practice of meditation. And I remember when I first learned of meditation, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was actually from watching What's Love Got to Do with It? And Angela Bassett as Tina Turner, she started meditating and she's like, I'm Yo Narenke Yo. And I was like, whoa, like that's some like new age stuff. That is not for me. And I've learned now that meditation can take different forms, and that's nothing against those, meditation practices. But to me, I have redefined meditation to mean listening for the voice of God, right? Prayer is our communication with God. That's where we talk to God. And meditation is where God talks to us. And in order to do that, you've got to learn to quiet your mind. You've got to ask God a question and be ready to receive his answer. You've got to tune in to his voice, and his voice lives within you all the time. But so many times we're so busy praying for God to do certain things or trying to do certain things that we miss what he is telling us and instructing us to do. And so again, whatever it is you want in your life, whether that's a renewed marriage, whether that's something in your professional life, whether that's something in your health, right? Maybe that's something in another relationship in your life, whatever it is that you desire. If that desire has been placed in your heart by God, He already has it set aside for you. But you have to trust His plan to getting there. You have to trust that His way is the right way, and you have to tune in for His leading and guiding to get you there. And stop trying to do it in your own strength, right? That doesn't mean that you sit around like a bump on a log just waiting for it to fall in your lap, right? Faith without works is dead, right? But you have the faith and you tune into His guidance. You get confirmation, right? I often ask, like, God, I want to know what you want me to do. Like, I don't want to be going around doing things the wrong way, right? I want you to lead me. I want you to guide me. And so show me what it is I should do, right? Tell me what it is that I should be doing. Show me and confirm it for me so that I don't have a shadow of a doubt that this is of you and not my own, mind trying to figure it out. But the first step to it, right, is trusting that God's plan is better than your plan. And we've got to take our hands off the wheel. So that's what I have for you right now. This is part one. I don't know how many parts it's going to be. That's me surrendering, right? But I know that as I continue on this journey of surrendering in many, many areas of my life, I want to share what I am learning and what I am practicing with you. And I hope and pray that it will be helpful. I hope that it will lead you to tune into God and to trust Him, right? Because that's what this is all about. So thank you for those of you who have joined me live. It has been my honor to just share with you briefly. If you found this helpful, I encourage you to share it with someone else because we all need to surrender in some area of our life. And again, that first step is trusting and believing that God's plan is better than your plan. So meditate on that today. Soak that in. Whenever you want to act in your own strength, just say, I take my hands off. God, your plan is better than my plan. I step aside and let you lead the way. Your plan is better than my plan. Your will be done, not my will be done in this situation. And I promise you, He will see it through. Have an incredible, incredible 4th of July, right? And surrender. I'll be back with you tomorrow for part 2. Take care.